somebody calls you whatever color, or you can go to them and say, hey man, how's my brown brothers doing? And say, well look man, how's my pink brothers doing? And he might get upset. Oh, I'm not pink, I'm white. I say, you're not white, you're black. And then again, they may think that's crazy, but I'm talking about your soul, brother. You're coming off with me with all these colors, trying to put me in a box by using a singular word that means one color when I am love, I am caring, I am cherished, I am strong, I am confident. You're not going to say I'm brown or black or whatever and just leave it at that like that's all there is to me and try to belittle me like that. Oh, no, you better think of a better word. I am spectacular. I am super califragilistic, You better throw some sugar in there and make it sweet as pie, especially if you want me to reciprocate, or I'll just ignore it altogether. But the way you're able to switch it back on them, it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. Now, they could either regulate themselves. Some people will take it up to a physical, but then, you follow the procedure. If you're smart, you just rope a dope. Say, hey man, you better back off. They keep hitting you, but you got a rope a dope. That means you ain't gonna stand there for the punch. Dodge and weave, cover your face, but don't instigate, don't push them. And if he keep hitting you, say, look man, it's only a matter of time. All you need is one good sneak because you're covering yourself. You just exist. Or even if you get knocked out, you'd be like, hey man, it's bad because that's just one. That's just one he's owed. He's owed one. There's one in the pocket for him waiting. So anyway, again, using that double meaning of the word.
But no, you got to follow the right procedure in order for the whole scenario to work. You can't be evil and think you're going to get justice because you're owed one. You don't go around slapping people in the face and thinking you ain't going to get your slap. And not only that, every slap was measured. So if you went around 20 slaps, that's exactly what you owed. Not more, not less. But it takes a wise man to hear and say and understand and say, okay, wait a minute, I can correct this. I can do better. But a fool will just keep doing the same mistakes and wondering, why am I in so much crap? Or why am I feeling this way? It's because you set the situation for you to reap what you're doing bad.
There's quite a bit to this. But instead of going on with the problems, because people are already waking up to all these negatives. Now, if I had a course with about anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 students of ebony young individuals, or courses that can be taught, I would teach them the whole thing. But I'm going right into solution mode in case nothing else has ever spoken to me on this matter. You would be like, we know exactly what to do.
In other words, I'm going to give all of it in order on this page, the human instruction, and then you can look through it and see what you want, what you don't want, and how to figure it out. But regardless, you're going to grow, especially if you follow the way.
So, believe you me, I'm trying to expedite this. But it's a lot of ground to cover. Because it's been going on for a long. Somebody had invented this long ago. Now they had used usually tribes, but by the time it got here, it cleaned up a little bit, and then they started using skin color, and which then it hurt people. But they deliberately did that because they wouldn't let, it was a crime to teach slaves to read back in the day, or any ebony person, regardless if it was a slave. So they was just using these politics, again, to benefit some and benefit others. But there's some ebony people that rose, and then they'll classify them as white. just to keep it legitimate in regards to themselves, or they're also say he's a yes man, so they'll let you slide, although they probably still hate your guts. And that's why you need to do and be where when somebody lies about you, they'll be like, that's not true, as opposed to saying, yeah, that's true. To say, yeah, man, these people are evil, when that's not true. And then if you believe that, you make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, because slavery is more than just a chain around your neck. It's a state of mind of ignorance and deception that was brought about some understanding that was probably misleading you since your conception, or before your conception, when you was a gleam in your parents' eyes, or in your daddy's eyes, or in your mama's eyes, or whatever. But so you need to go from race to tribe. We're all tribes. From race to culture. You got to build a good culture, a good society, a place where you're happy to come home into your neighborhood, a place where your neighbor sees you hungry and he'll give you food, a place where if you're acting a fool, somebody say you better cut that out, or I'm gonna tell your mama, and then your mama will regulate when you get home. I say, don't you act a fool. You're an ebony, beautiful child. You're supposed to behave as such, not behave like that. Or if they see somebody messing around with one of your children, they'll be like, don't mess around with that child. Say, I told you to stop messing around with, somebody else beating on somebody else's child. Don't do that. Don't do that. That child didn't deserve it. If you got problems, go out and get some rest, or see somebody to help you out with that problem. Don't make things bigger. And some people make things bigger, and then they go out destroying their own neighborhoods because somebody told them somebody did something wrong when they were in the wrong. If somebody gives you good advice, at least consider it. Don't be like, no, that's wrong, and then later on be like, damn, I made a mistake. Consider it way down. What's the effect of this? Even with these women who kill their children. And they still kill their children. Now, some people kill their children. I'm talking about an abortion. Some women have an abortion as a ritual to gain money. That's how they worship the devil or Satan. They do that. Now, some women do, a lot of the women do it ignorantly. Then after that, instead of saying, I made a mistake, I won't do it again. I won't kill another, I won't have another abortion, which is all right. Because many of these women, they have these abortions, but they're always in the back of their mind, when they see a cute little baby, they be like, damn, that could have been my baby. Or what if that baby that you had aborted would have been your saving grace? Would have been like a multimillionaire that could have had you married in a nice, have you, bought you a nice house, or made sure your old age was good. But instead of that, you look into another baby's eyes, it's like, damn, that could have been my baby, or. But then it's a belief structure. A belief structure is a choice. Now, you got a choice that's going to go up, or a belief structure that's going to go down. You can believe, maybe one day God, you already know God forgave you as long as you don't keep doing it. You don't regurgitate it like a dog throwing up and eating it. You'll be like, yeah, okay, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do it. Maybe God will either bring you another child, or also that when you die, God can show you that child that you aborted. Well, you'd be like, well, how do you know if that's true or not? It's a belief that you choose that would enable to strengthen you to say God can do or correct the mistake that I done, because God has the power to do so. That's why God has the authority to say who goes where and what happens, because this is all supposedly a learning lesson. Unless you refuse to learn a lesson, then you're just a spoiled child that's an adult going around causing havoc because nobody bothered to spank your little behind when you was a little kid. Because then they show you the direct outcome, and they're doing you a solid. As long as, I'm not talking about beating the child to death. And if you treat a child with love from birth, most likely they never need you to raise your voice. But if you need to, you raise your voice and you tell them, hey, but you explain it out of love, not out of hate or a reason to unleash all the hatred that you have possessed. You got to forgive those who hurt you. And when you forgive those who hurt you, then you're able to be healed and help that child. And you need to know what forgiveness is. Forgiveness does not mean you're going to forget. On the contrary, forgiveness means you're going to remember and learn that this is wrong, and if it happens again, you will be correct and decisive. Yo, I've been there. I've walked down that street. Trust me, there's nothing over there, and nothing but pain and suffering. So you know what? We're going to do this the right way, and this is the way we're going to succeed. This is the way we're going to work towards. Instead of being misled by all these sambos that want to worship the devil and be a yes man to walk you over a cliff. And you'd be like, nah, Sambo, you want to walk over that cliff? You want to go and ride in our own neighborhoods? This is my neighborhood. Why you want to ride in my neighborhood? Who's the problem? Go in his house. Go fight him. No, don't mess with the good neighborhoods. Go mess with the poor neighborhoods. As if we don't got it bad enough because we're poor. Now you're going to protest in our neighborhood and mess up our stores. So now I can't even go down to the Walmart and buy myself a juice because you're in there protesting our people when you say you're protesting the enemy. Too many over there people that are just willing to follow because they get a couple of dollars here and there, not knowing that there's trillions in their possession because they're throwing it all away. But once you learn how to understand the way things work, which a lot of people do, but we need to come together from one universal understanding and not from ignorance that 20 people is going to give you 20 different either different bad advice or different the same bad advice. Regardless, they're giving you bad understanding, and then people will start to use emotion. Blah blah, I'll kick your ass, or this and that, or they're getting all angry, like the anger is the truth. Their anger is not the truth. That's just, for me, that's just showing you doubling down on ignorance. Because logic doesn't need emotion to tell you the truth. Logic is straight up. And you could take it or not take it, but regardless, it stands on its own as a truth and as a line that's saying if you pass this line, it's dangerous. But if you're within it, it's beautiful. And now you choose. What direction do you want to go into? What belief do you want to possess? You want to believe that there's no God? You want to believe that there's no reason for life? You want to believe that all white people are evil, or that all black people are ignorant, or that all black people are hateful, or all white people are hateful, or whatever you want to believe? It's your choice, but all those beliefs are building blocks to where you're going and who you are, and to your actions, your thought, your source, and your destiny. So these people have an agenda to make a false reality into a reality. It's not based on truth, nor it yields to truth, but it yields to lies and deception. That's why they have the backup men who always say, that's right, you right, that's right. And they've never been so wrong. And even in church, I mean, I could just stand up and just say, hey man, that's wrong. I would stand there and probably, if it's a bad pastor, I would stand there and probably just contradict everything he says with the straight up reasoning. But then again, they won't let me be in that church. They'll be like, you got to get out. So I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother them. They want to all huddle in their own ignorant tribe. That's all right by me, as long as they don't start hurting people. Once you pass that line, then you're looking at you're going to have to be penalized in some way for your actions, but they'll try to escape penalization, which is another problem. If you go around letting children just slap other children with no consequences, they're going to keep doing it until another child just slaps them again, slaps them back. This is the pain you're trying to cause me. This is the trying to hurt you're trying to cause me. Why don't you take some of that upon yourself? Because I don't want it. My brother don't want it. But if you're ignorant, you get it. Your brother gets it. Everybody gets it. And you don't know why. The blind leading the blind. So when it comes to evolution, you can choose to differentiate between evolution and origin of life. For all is evolution, but origin of life is something that is way past the scientific method due to certain instruments that cannot be measured, or things that cannot be measured by mere physical tools, but it can be learned through understanding. For all of life is evolution, but origin of life is again, it's something that you would have to measure or duplicate, in which scientists have been trying to do that endlessly for a while. Hopefully, eventually, they'll begin to figure out the exact structure, and we will be able to move forward in a positive way. Instead, what we do have is all of us have a common descent. So it makes total total sense, because of the mass follows structure. All follow structure. Evolution is a broad term with a double or third semantic meaning. Even creationism is a broad term, for fractals are true, is a true structure. Why not say we are creationists? So then there are truths into the macro and to the micro, where we begin to understand and realize. So logically, it stands to reason, rather, in the, that there is even a greater micro and a greater macro in our evolution and creation, and a source to such systems that creates us and our environment and everything around us. Technically, the quickest evaluation is just our process, because we come from our father's sperm, and called the semen, and then it's implanted to the egg, and then we go from the father's body into the woman's female reproductive system, in which then it creates a fetus, and then it's nurtured and grown from the female species, and soon afterwards separates from its incubus period. And then when we're born into this the system that we are currently in. But evolution could also called this, what we call evolution, could also be called a reproductive system. In other words, to evolve from one state to another. And there are certain words and systems that we say that as theories, but they're not only they're unprovable, but the word alone describes a process that we all go through, trying to make it seem as one thing, but it's really another. And it can be proven by our first basic understanding as to what is life and how it all works. I'm sure that once many people figure out the human instruction, it would enable scientists and laymen to have a better understanding as to the beginning of life and how it all works together, and the meaning of life and the purpose of life, and all that follows thereof that's relevant to all of life.